Coming up on show 816, Jay Leno takes the Tesla Model Y for a spin, and he really quite likes it. Stick around and I'll give you the details. Plus on the show today, a deal if you want basic autopilot and don't have it. When will the 7-seater third row Model Y arrive? Well, now we know. At least Elon's tweeted the battery cell production tour and shareholder meeting has a date. And how good are some of the Chinese car batteries? Well, WM Motor have been doing some long-range analysis. It'll blow your socks off. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, first one of the week, Monday 22nd of June. Martyn Lee here, playing catch-up. And I go through every EV story so you don't have to. Well, thank you as always to the team at myev.com. MyEV in the US, if you are able to get myev.com. All about electric and plug-in cars. As they say, electric vehicles are better. Yep, they're not wrong. Lots of reasons on there to switch to electric. If people are asking you for a resource to learn more, you can always point them towards myev.com. Tell them about the average EV owner saving over $1,400 a year on fuel. Lots of good little tidbits on that website to help convince your friends and family that EV is the way to go. Well, with the July price increase of full self-driving for Tesla, it's going up $1,000. It'll now be $8,000 for FSD, or full self-driving. That's not far away now, about a week to go until those prices go up. Tesla is dropping a surprise on any owners that if you already have one of the cars that don't have autopilot installed, you can now add basic autopilot for just $2,000, but the offer is only good until July the 1st, many people noting that is indeed the end of quarter. And of course, Tesla, more than most, are subject to a huge amount of scrutiny and analysis around their quarterly numbers. There's always an end of quarter push to get cars delivered, and now little incentive on the cards for you to get yourself basic autopilot. According to Car and Driver, they say Tesla's basic autopilot features are standard on all vehicles now, but if you did buy one of their cars before it was the norm, you can now upgrade at this discount. For the company's additional full self-driving features, navigate on autopilot, automatic lane change, auto parking, summon, traffic light control, and future self-driving capabilities. When it's ready, you will have to pay extra. The deal is only available for vehicles without autopilot at the moment. For those looking to upgrade, you can do so before July the 1st for the bargain price of $2,000. Elon Musk is nothing but, if nothing else, a great salesman. Tweeting, enabling basic autopilot in Tesla in-app purchase is reduced to $2,000 until July the 1st. Okay, moving on. Jay Leno's been driving the Model Y. Now, Jay Leno's a big fan of Tesla, did a very, very early interview with Elon, a young-looking Elon, by the way, all around the original Roadster, all those years ago. And we know that Jay Leno is a fan, recently featuring the semi-truck and the Cybertruck on an edition of his TV show, but it didn't get many minutes, and there wasn't really anything in there that, for someone like you or I who pay attention to this kind of stuff, there was nothing new. It's cool to see. Nothing new information in there, really, but he's now taken the Model Y for a spin, and this is a good old meaty, chunky 30-minute Jay Leno show where he really does dig deep into what he thinks about the car. First appearance of the Model Y on Jay's show, giving it a thorough once-over before taking it for a spin, and Jay does think that electric vehicles are going to be common day-to-day transportation in the very, very near future. According to Autoweek, who say that on the road, Jay Leno notes the Model Y's speed, obviously, and range and general driving dynamics are all to note. He also breaks down the pollution aspect of how he understands electricity coming from polluting power plants in some areas. Of course, this is a US show, but the vehicle itself is still clean. Jay Leno owns and drives a Model S, by the way, for what it's worth. Staying with Elon tweeting, when Elon first talked about the Model Y, he said it would be built on a brand new platform. Then he changed his tune. It would be built on the same platform as Model 3, sharing many parts. Some even saying up to 75% of the parts, but I don't quite agree with that. It's just there's so many bits of the modern Model Y that is so different, from heat pumps to the way it's made. It's just it is at appearance a Model 3 that's slightly higher. It's so much more than that, by the way. And third row seats. are coming. According to Stephen Loveday at Inside EVs, the Model Y did come to market in March with 2 all-wheel drive versions, the long range and the performance, and much like the Model 3, it will be available in the less expensive standard range variant at some point in the future. But what about the 3-row, 7-seat Model Y? All we know is it's coming later. People earlier this year started to get notifications to configure their Model Y, and that caused confusion because, and actually plenty of speculation, because those people who had ordered the 7-seater were told to prepare for delivery. That was the phrase. The 3-row model, they were told to start speccing it. And that's not the case, though. We did think, oh my goodness, have they got either so far ahead of themselves with engineering, or are they suffering that much with availability, desire for the cars that they're having to put those ones out already? But it's not the case. It's not going to be yet until the end of the year. Elon did tweet a simple 3-word tweet, probably early Q4. So, that could be October the 1st, early Q4. Well, I was going to say with Tesla timing, Elon time, that could mean early next year, but they've been early lately with everything, with the Model Y, surprising everyone by going, oh, yeah, no, we finished it. Here you go. So who knows? It could even be before then. And what about the big question of Battery Day? Tesla battery cell production and a tour, actually, is going to be included at the coming meeting. Elon tweeted a tentative date for the Tesla shareholder meeting and Battery Day combined. September 15th was meant to be April, then May, then it was June. And of course, big groups of people, large gatherings, social distancing, all those things. However, by putting a date of September 15th on the shareholder meeting and making Battery Day September 15th, it means they are going to include a tour of their new cell production system. Elon tweeted recently that this new date had been set for the annual meeting of shareholders and the Battery Day, both of which had to be postponed because of COVID. And the announcement came with this bonus, says Clean Technica, of having a tour of the Fremont facility and the Fremont, California facility. List of topics that people want to hear about during Battery Day. The so-called million-mile battery. What's Jeff Dahn and his Canadian research team been working on? News about battery chemistry we want. Electrode composition, they say. How the technology developed by Maxwell is being incorporated into Tesla's batteries. And how Tesla's plans are in the medium term to long term for producing their own battery cells. It currently produces their modules and packs, but the cells made by Panasonic and CATL. So we'll see. That's exciting. By putting a date of September 15th on it means they should be in a place where they can even give people a tour and say, yes, we're making our own cells. And by the way, here's one of the lines that we've got up and running. Where they make them, all TBC. Could be Texas, when they finally start building their Austin Terafactory. Not even a gigafactory. That's how big it's going to be. This is impressive news coming from China. Weltmeister, the company that I would otherwise call WM Motor, they have a car called the EX5, and they've been doing some work on the battery capacity degradation on that. Launched last year in China, selling for 140,000, less than 140,000 yuan. That's about 17,500 euros if you do the conversion and include the subsidies. Always beware when you're doing those conversions, it's not an exact science. The WM Motor, or Weltmeister EX5, is a very appealing electric car, sized somewhere between the Kia e-Niro and the Tesla Model Y, writes Pedro at Push EVs. Looking at the specs of the EX5, has a 160 kilowatt motor, does 0 to 62 miles an hour in 8.3 seconds, has a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger. It'll DC fast charge from 30 to 80% in 30 minutes, if you can find a 120 kilowatt or more charger. The battery size is a biggie. It's 69 kilowatt hours, and it has a lifetime warranty with the energy density of 160 watt hours per kilogram. They use the NCM 811 cells, I believe, in that car. WM Motor say to help alleviate concerns around one important consideration amongst car buyers, the degradation of EV batteries over time. WM Motor has long promoted the benefits of high quality thermal management and high-quality BMS, battery management systems in EVs, to maintain the long-term stability of your battery's capacity. One of the EX5 models, which was purchased last year, has provided an insight into the long-term battery degradation. The driver of this particular EX5 does some very lengthy commutes and has averaged about 500 kilometers every day. This driver has done over 200,000 kilometers in this particular EX5, and having been brought in for a regular checkup, the battery was found to have degradation of 2.85% from its original capacity. 200,000 kilometers, well, plus actually, that's 124,000 plus miles. Think about a petrol or a diesel car that's done 124,000 miles, 200,000 kilometers. And will it lose just 2.85% of what it was like when the car was new? Yeah, it certainly would have done. This particular gentleman's car was charged to 90% most of the time. He always uses DC fast chargers because he's always on the road and using it to drive a lot, so always DC fast charging. And the car is currently displaying 1,500 charges, and a lot of those are partial charges as well. Battery capacity only dropping by 2.85%, a testament there to the cell chemistry that they are using, and also as well as a bit of a running commentary on the quality of some of these Chinese cars that we don't talk about as much, I think, just because other cars get the headlines. But if the Chinese car makers start selling their cars elsewhere, and also if the car makers that you're used to buying start making their cars in China, like BMW making the iX3 only in China, by the way, and then exporting it to the US, and no, not US now. They backed out of that. I wonder if the range isn't going to be very good. But also to Europe, right? And so not making it in Europe, that obviously means they're fine with the quality of the work that's being done there. Staying in China, they've actually done a really big piece of lawmaking change and a bit of reclassification of what is a new energy vehicle. They've reclassified soft hybrids on Monday to get some more favourable treatment under the new clean car rules compared to all petrol and all diesel cars. It makes it easier for car makers to meet the environmental quotas and offer more choice as well, says Reuters today. Automakers in China are obliged to manufacture new energy vehicles to win points. Points make prizes. Points make up a proportion of to make up a portion of the negative points they incur when they make combustion cars. So, however, the system has been criticised for offering very few incentives for those car makers. We're looking at you, Toyota, who only really want to make soft hybrids for now. And the policy in China will certainly favour companies like that. The policy published today by the China Ministry of Industry and Information Technology allows car makers to make more petrol-electric hybrids, more soft hybrids, and less of more costly all-electric cars until 2023 as a way of cleaning up the air. Of course, it means that if it was a choice of, I can't afford an EV, so I have to buy all petrol. Well, actually, choosing a soft hybrid could be good. Not necessarily anything that I recommend. And obviously, a little disappointing news coming from China on this, but it's not going to be long term. They've been known to really change the incentives, the laws, as and when they see fit to achieve what they need to achieve, really, actually. And so we'll wait and see. It could all change again, and they could suddenly be favouring fuel cells one minute and battery electric cars. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Final story today. This is interesting, right? I'm excited about this. Apple are having their conference, WWDC, and at this year's WWDC, see, I'm down with the Apple kids. There's a new update to Apple Maps, which didn't get the most glorious of start. It's always hard when you make a bad first impression because Apple Maps is pretty good these days. But, of course, you make a bad impression once and people still make jokes about Apple Maps. Yes, I remember that day. Downloaded it. Very excited. I'm a huge Apple. I'm in the entire Apple ecosystem, by the way. And so I remember that day. Wow, Apple Maps. Oh, this is terrible. No, this is more than terrible. Now they're fine, and they're getting even better with new EV tools. Are you listening, everybody else who makes maps? Making it possible for EV drivers to plan trips around where and when they'll need to charge EVs. They're fully incorporating EV chargers into Apple Maps. Previously only allowed users to route to or from certain chargers, but now Apple Maps will include or add chargers to a trip, even on the fly, as you're driving, says The Verge. Apple Maps will be able to track your current vehicle charge status, and it will factor in the elevation on the route that you've planned and add charging stops along the way if you need to. It will only route to compatible chargers with your particular car. Of course, to get deeply integrated means the company needs a bit of cooperation from the automakers. Apple said that the first ones to enable this will be Ford and BMW. That's our stories today. Hope you enjoyed EV News Daily. Loved putting this one together for you, full of some fantastic positive news. Question of the week, though, is where you get to contribute, and I'll read out yours on Sunday. Answer me this. How would you like to see green number plates or green stickers used to incentivise EVs? This autumn, we get green plates in the UK, but there's no actual incentives linked to that. It doesn't mean that we can then park anywhere or drive in bus lanes. Those rules are still yet TBC. So how would you like to see any kind of identification of EV, whether it's a green number plate, whether it's a bumper sticker or a window sticker that you have to apply for? How would you like to see those used to incentivise people to make the most of buying an EV? Let me know. Email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com. You can leave a comment on the YouTube show. 231 patrons of the show put it together for you. They fund this program. If you are listening to this show for free, well, good on you. It will always be free, by the way. And for as long as I possibly can, I'll hold out on advertising as well, because I just love this Patreon model. It means that individuals and companies can fund a project like this. Those people funding this show are responsible for driving that awareness, that education that hopefully that we do to the thousands of people that listen around the world every single day. And if I can sort of minimise the advertising because of that, then I'm very happy about that. The archive is available at evnewsdaily.com. 816 shows in there. Premium partners are Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group for Clean Tech Talent, Porsche of the Village, Cincinnati, Audi of Cincinnati East, Volvo Cars of Cincinnati East, and now nationalcarcharging.com, and in Hawaii, AlohaCharge.com. If you can leave a little comment on Apple Podcasts anytime, it does help other people see your review and help me grow the show. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.